So here we are, coming up to our old house where it all began, where Kim and I chewed the fat at the back of the ute in August 1996, so 21 years ago. Well, the name Liebe Group wasn't something that came at the start. We didn't actually have a name, and in fact initially it was called the Latham Bunteen Woburn Research and Development Group. We formed that size of the group, and then I was actually going up to a meeting in Three Springs, and I was driving through Waddy Forest where Liebe had a big parcel of land, and then obviously had a big parcel of land in Woburn. And because there wasn't any natural geographical description to the area that we're encompassing, I sort of came up with him because he was a real innovator in agriculture. So yeah, it was just something that I took back to the group, and they loved the idea, and hence the name Liebe was born.
At that stage, women weren't getting involved in agriculture and didn't have a voice, and for me, it was a lost value in the industry for women not to be involved. So that's why I got involved back in '98. Yeah. So grassroots driven is imperative, and I think it's still very relevant because farmers, over the 20 years we've done participatory active research with researchers and farmers working together, and there's been some wonderful outcomes from that.
I think it's a remarkable achievement that a grower group has survived for that long, thrived, had a huge amount of success and believes so much in itself. And I think that's just a wonderful achievement. And full congratulations to the founders of the group, their vision that they had, the quirky name they came up with, the view that they wanted to really have a strong local presence in the Three Shires, and the way that they've been able to lever effort from others, like my organisation, CSIRO, like the Department of Agriculture, like the universities, bringing those groups into the area and getting them working on local problems. That's fantastic. Well done.
I'm proud of what the Liebe Group has become. I'm proud of the staff members that have passed through and gone on to bigger and better things. I think the work ethic that we helped them develop has stood a lot of them in good stead. So, and just the fact that I can talk to farmers about what they do. I'm not afraid to ask the questions that I might have been before. I'm just proud of the guys that started it and made it what it is. So yeah.
I think it's very important that people are brought together to share ideas and share knowledge, to generate new ideas, for things to look at in years to come. Everything's evolving, the seasons, the systems, the rotations, the tillage systems, everything's changing, and we'll always be learning. We've learned a lot from the past, but there'll still be so much more to learn because what worked 20 years ago mightn't work today. So see the Liebe Group as being a pretty important partner, and certainly proud to be a diamond sponsor of the group.
There's always a niche for the Liebe Group, or a group like the Liebe Group, but I think, and obviously I think it needs to change. Like it's got to be dynamic. So it's going to shift its focuses around the place to meet the current needs and be adaptable, which I think we've got built in.
It's an excellent partner in a lot of our work. That's one of the good things about Liebe, is that Liebe works with the department. We don't work for Liebe and they don't work for us. We work together, and that's what Liebe does. That's what they bring.
The Liebe Group have been actually their offices have been in the Shire for the last few years, and it's been a pretty successful arrangement. But they're moving on to their new premises, and that's fantastic that they got that funding. So yeah, Liebe Group, very strong and very important in our district.
Part of the community, it gets you out and talking to people that you don't normally see in those other events like football and stuff like that. But and the business wise, that constant looking at new research and being on the forefront of that information is how I think it helps.
Good spot where you know that you can talk about what's happening in the season and longer term. It's it's always been good that way, I reckon.
When you work for Liebe, working with the management committee, you're formulating budgets, getting funding, R&D trials and projects, member engagement, marketing communications, and you're folding the newsletter and cleaning the kitchen. And the best part about that, it's such a broad base of a start to the industry. You get to know a lot of industry players, and also it's a real attitude of pitch in and get things done at the Liebe Group, which I loved. That's really valued as your career progresses, and it sets you up to work really hard, and that's something I've really valued out of the Liebe Group. So for CBH, groups like Liebe, you have the most, your membership is the most young and dynamic farmers in the industry. They're the progressive farmers, and for CBH it's really important that we have a connection with those farmers, and that they're going to be the future of our industry, and we need to make sure we stay involved with them, which is a great way to do that through grower groups.
One of the things that I really enjoyed working for the Liebe Group is that they worked with a whole systems approach to agriculture. So it wasn't just about farming. I can remember one of the committee meetings, and the committee was saying, we should get women more involved with the group. So let's have a women's field day, and then they all dobbed in their wives, and the women's field day ended up being awesome, and I'd say that was probably one of my big achievements as well.
Yeah, I think that one of the strengths of the Liebe Group, particularly in the current research it does, is a lot of younger farmers have had university degrees and experience, and really pay a lot more closer attention to having good trials and good data, and particularly being able to have good explanations and critiques of trials. And the Liebe Group, I think, in terms of the trials it produces, is really good in that way, and that's, I think, is really important for the younger generation. They'll be further looking at those really sort of strong evidence to be able to support our decisions.
So I started with the Liebe Group in January this year as the executive officer. I worked in Perth previously as a landscape architect, so worked in the development and design industry for 5 years before joining the Liebe Group. The Liebe Group, however, has been part of my life for a very long time. I grew up in Bunteen. My mum, Jill McGregor, used to work for the group for 6 years. She was the second employee with the group. So I spent my days after school, hanging out in the Liebe Group office, looking at the maps on the walls, helping with the mail out of the newsletter. So yeah, the Liebe Group's been part of my life for a very long time. Just really excited to be part of this exciting time for the group. We've got a new building, taking place. We've got a new strategic plan this year. We're celebrating 20 years, so it's a really exciting time for the group, and yeah, I'm just glad to be part of it.
Again, it's all about our farming in our community, and we're not really competitive with each other. We're learning off each other all of the time, so that continual network and learning experience, and then continue that on after a field day or whatever. You'll get to know more people. It's a little bit of a wider area now after 20 years that's being serviced, so you're getting to know people in a wider area you wouldn't have normally got to know.
The NVTs are certainly something that has been a key part of the trial site, whether it be canola, lupins, barley or wheat. People have always really been keen to see those, but I think we've gone from the start. We were just looking at the top surface of our farming land, and now we're digging holes left, right and centre and jumping in pits, and we're certainly understanding the profile more rather than the top 10 centimetres. So. But there's new technology coming in all the time, and it's just opened us up to that. And we're just very grateful to have been a part of it, and look forward to being a part of it for the next so many years that we're farming. But so everyone have a great night.
I'll say cheers.
Yeah.
I do have confidence in Liebe in the future. I've always had confidence. I think we've always been very mindful of succession planning, and I think what's great at the moment that there is people that are similar age or perhaps even younger than what I was when I first started the Liebe Group up, which I think I was 32 at the time or something like that, and there's a lot of passion there, so I think that part's good. In saying that, I do think that agriculture is going to continue to get tougher. I think climate's going to play an ever-increasing variable effect on our businesses. And I think the cost of production is becoming quite an issue when you couple it with that sort of effect. So, but I've got no doubt that when we all work together and look at other opportunities that I know that are there, that we can actually still have a great future. And Liebe Group will always play an integral part in that as a catalyst to drive change and to research change and provide the best information for our members as possible to make the best decisions in their businesses.
So Liebe need to have good procedures in place, also good governance, as we have over the last 20 years. We need to continue that as we're managing our members, our sponsors, or our industry partners' investment in the Liebe Group. So I think it's imperative that the Liebe Group continue for the future generations.